Hello, my friend. Welcome to Learn English Unleashed. I'm John, and I'm really happy you're here today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever known the grammar, but when it was finally time to speak, your mind suddenly became empty? You knew the words, you understood the lesson, but your mouth stayed quiet. Why? Here's the surprising question. What if grammar is not helping you speak? What if grammar is actually slowing you down? Stay with me, because today you may discover one small change that can completely change the way you learn English. And the best part? You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a native teacher. You don't need to live in the United States or the United Kingdom. You don't need to study for 5 hours every day. Even if you are busy, even if you feel shy, even if you always say, "My English is not good enough," this episode is for you. Because today, we're not learning more grammar. We're training your brain to speak naturally, just like real conversations happen. And trust me, I was not a confident English speaker either. I also stopped in the middle of sentences. I also worried about making mistakes. I also believed, first I must learn all the grammar, then I will start speaking. But that day never came. Maybe you felt the same. You keep waiting. One more grammar lesson, one more YouTube video, one more notebook, one more rule. And somehow, speaking still feels difficult. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're in the right place. Because today, we're going to remove that heavy feeling from your mind. Not with difficult lessons, but with simple daily practice. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand why fluent speakers don't keep grammar rules inside their heads while talking. Their secret is something much simpler. We'll discover it together. Before we begin, imagine two English learners. The first learner studies grammar every evening. He knows many rules. He can explain tenses. He can solve grammar exercises. But when someone asks, "How was your day?" he pauses. He starts translating. He changes the sentence 3 times inside his head. Then he quietly says, "It was okay." Now look at the second learner. She doesn't know every grammar rule. Sometimes she even makes small mistakes. But she speaks. She smiles. She keeps the conversation moving. People understand her. Now here's my question. Who sounds more confident? Take a second. Think about it. Most people choose the second learner. And they're right. Because communication is not a grammar competition. It's about sharing ideas. That's what real conversations are. And today, you're going to learn how to build that habit. But first, let me tell you a very short story. A man once joined an English conversation club. Every week he brought a notebook. Every page was full of grammar notes. Before answering any question, he looked down. He searched for the correct tense. He checked the sentence in his head. By the time he was ready, the conversation had already moved on. Another learner walked into the same room. No notebook, no long pauses, no perfect grammar. He simply listened carefully. He answered with simple words. Sometimes he corrected himself. Sometimes he laughed at his own mistakes. But he never stopped speaking. After 3 months, Guess who became more fluent? Not the person who knew more rules, the person who practiced speaking more often. That surprises many learners because we've been taught something different for years. We've been taught learn grammar first. But real life doesn't work like that. Think about young children. They don't memorize grammar books before speaking. They hear, they repeat, they copy, little by little. Their brain notices patterns naturally. That's exactly how language grows. And yes, all my lovely students can train their brains in a similar way too. Now here's a question that almost nobody asks. If grammar books are so helpful, why do many learners still freeze during conversations? Interesting question. We'll answer it together. But first, let's understand what's really happening inside your brain. Most learners think, I forgot the English. Usually, that's not true. The words are still there. Your brain is simply too busy. Busy checking grammar. Busy translating. Busy trying to sound perfect. Imagine driving a bicycle. Would you think, left foot, now right foot, balance, breathe? Of course not. You just ride. Speaking English works in the same way. The goal is not to remember every rule. The goal is to make English feel natural. Natural comes from practice, not pressure. Remember this simple sentence. Don't speak to prove your grammar. Speak to share your message. Say it again with me. Speak to share your message. Very good. Keep that sentence in your mind. Because everything we're going to practice today grows from this one idea. And in the next section, I'll show you. The first practice. That quietly changes the way your brain learns English. It's simple. Most learners never try it. But once you do, your brain stops searching for dry rules and starts picking up complete conversational phrases naturally. Let's jump into the very first practice. Practice 1. Fill your day with real English. Now we're ready. And here's the first practice. This one looks very small, but it changes everything. Most learners only meet English when it's study time. That's the problem. Your brain starts thinking, English only belongs in books. But fluent speakers don't treat English like a school subject. They treat it like part of everyday life. Here's a simple question. How many minutes did you hear real English yesterday? Not grammar. Not vocabulary lists. Real English. Think about it. If your answer is only 5 or 10 minutes, don't worry. Today, we'll change that. Here's the secret. Don't chase difficult English. Collect small moments. Imagine you're making breakfast. The kettle starts to boil. Someone says, the water's ready. You're tying your shoes before leaving home. You hear, let's head out. You're waiting for a slow elevator. Someone smiles and says, looks like we'll be here for a while. These are real-life sentences, short, natural, useful. And your brain loves useful language because it connects words to real situations, not grammar rules. Mini story. A learner once listened to long English lessons every weekend. But during the week, nothing. Another learner listened for just 3 minutes while making tea, 3 minutes while folding clothes, 3 minutes before going to sleep. Guess what happened after 1 month? The second learner started recognizing common phrases without trying. Why? Because the brain learns through repetition, not pressure. Your 2-minute routine tomorrow morning. Don't open a grammar book first. Instead, listen to 2 minutes of slow English. No writing, no translating. Just listen. Notice how people connect words. Notice their rhythm. Notice their pauses. That's enough. Only 2 minutes. Can you do that? I think you can. Because 2 minutes feels easy, and easy habits last longer. Mini challenge. Tomorrow, count how many English phrases you hear before lunch. Not difficult words. Simple phrases like, take your time. That makes sense. I'm on my way. Give it a try. Don't memorize them, just notice them. Your brain is already learning. Repeat after me. Now, let's practice together. Repeat after me. Take your time. Again. Take your time. Excellent. Now. I'm on my way. One more time. I'm on my way. Very nice. Did you notice something? You weren't thinking about grammar. You were simply speaking. That's exactly what we want. Remember this line. First hear it. Then feel it. Then say it. Not study it for 3 days. But here's something interesting. Listening alone isn't enough. You can listen for years and still struggle to speak. So what's missing? That's what we're going to discover next. Practice 2. Steal ready-made chunks. Here's a question. Have you ever heard a song so many times that one day you started singing it without looking at the lyrics? You didn't plan it. It just happened. Speaking English works in a similar way. Fluent speakers don't only remember words, they remember the rhythm, the music of the language. That's why our second practice is so powerful. Fluent speakers don't build sentences word by word using grammar rules. They don't think subject plus verb plus object. Instead, they use pre-made blocks of words. We call them chunks. When you use a ready-made chunk, the grammar is already built in. You don't have to analyze it. You just steal it and use it. Imagine you're watching someone prepare dinner. The speaker says, "Give it a quick stir." Pause. Repeat it. Not once, 3 times. Try matching the same rhythm. Not perfect, just close enough. Here's another one. Hang on a second. Listen. Pause. Repeat. Again. You may feel a little funny at first. That's normal. Every fluent speaker sounded awkward in the beginning. The difference is, they kept going. Mini story. One learner spent months learning difficult vocabulary. Another learner repeated just 10 natural phrases every day. After a few weeks, the second learner sounded smoother. Not because he knew more words, because his mouth had already practiced moving in English. Speaking is a skill, just like swimming. You don't become better by reading about water. You become better by getting into it. Your 5-minute routine. Choose one short English video, only 30 to 60 seconds long. Listen once. Listen again. Pause after every sentence. Repeat with the speaker. Copy the rhythm. Copy the smile in the voice. Copy the energy. 5 minutes. That's all. Not 50 minutes. 5. Repeat. After me. Ready? That worked out well. Again. That worked out well. Now, let's see what happens. One more time. Let's see what happens. Excellent. You're not memorizing grammar. You're training your speaking muscles. And here's something exciting. The next practice is where everything begins to change. Because this is the habit that helps you stop translating inside your head. Most learners never discover it, but once you do, English starts feeling faster and much more natural. And in the next practice, you'll discover the habit that finally helps you think in English instead of translating. Welcome back, my friend. So far, you've learned something important. First, you filled your day with real English. Then, you started copying the rhythm of real speakers. Already, your brain is changing. But now we're coming to the practice that changes everything. This is where many learners finally stop thinking about grammar. Ready? Let's go. Practice 3. The don't correct yourself rule. Here's a simple question. When you make a small grammar mistake while speaking, what do? Most learners immediately stop. They pause. They correct the mistake. And then they start the sentence again. That's a huge problem. Why? Because every time you stop to fix your grammar, you teach your brain to be afraid of making mistakes. Imagine you're driving a car. If you hit a small bump on the road, do you stop the car, go backward, and drive over the bump perfectly? Of course not. You keep driving. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Fluent speakers sometimes make small mistakes too. They use the wrong tense. They mix up prepositions, but they never stop. They keep the conversation moving. Your 3-minute speaking routine tomorrow. Talk to yourself for 3 minutes. But here is the rule. You are not allowed to correct your grammar. If you say he go instead of he goes, don't stop, keep moving. If you use the past tense instead of the future tense, keep moving. Train your brain to value the message, not the perfection. Repeat after me. Let's practice moving forward. I made a mistake, but I'm moving forward. Again. I made a mistake, but I'm moving forward. Excellent. But here's another problem. Many learners say, John, I try to talk, but I get stuck searching for the perfect heavy vocabulary. If that's happening to you, it's because your brain gets caught in a grammar trap trying to fit big words together. And this next practice fixes it. Practice 4. Choose simple words, not big words. Learning big vocabulary is great. But forcing big vocabulary into conversations is dangerous. Have you ever tried to translate a very complex advanced thought from your native language directly into English? Suddenly, you need advanced grammar. You need complex tenses. Your brain freezes. Here's the good news. You don't need big words to sound fluent. You just need simple words used confidently. Mini story. A learner always tried to use big words like comprehend or utilize. but he paused for 10 seconds every time he spoke to check his grammar. Another learner only used simple words like understand and use. He spoke smoothly. He never checked his grammar. 1 month later, who sounded more fluent? The second learner. Not because he studied harder, because he kept things simple. Your 5-minute routine. Next time you want to explain something complicated, stop. Ask yourself, how would a smart 10-year-old say this? Don't try to sound like a professor. Sound like a friend. Repeat after me. Ready? Let's keep it simple. Again. Let's keep it simple. Excellent. Now, I don't need big words. One more time. I don't need big words. Great job. Now we've reached the final and most important practice. This is where everything comes together. It's the habit that turns English from something you study into something you live. And once you build this habit, you'll stop waiting for the perfect time to speak. You'll simply start speaking. And in the final practice, you'll learn how to make English a natural part of your everyday life. Now we've arrived at the final practice. And if you've stayed with me until this point, I want to say something. I'm proud of you. Because improving your English isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, one small step at a time. Now let's bring everything together. Practice 5. Live your day in English. Here's one question. What if English wasn't something you studied? What if it became part of your normal day? That's the mindset shift, and it changes everything. Most learners separate English from real life. They say, I'll practice later. I'll start next Monday. I'll speak when my grammar is better. But later often becomes next month or next year. Instead, bring English into the life you're already living. You don't need a special classroom. Your day is your classroom. Your 5-minute grammar-free action challenge. Let's make it simple. Don't sit down to create long stories in your head. Instead, whenever your body moves, your English should move. When you open the door, instantly say out loud, opening the door. When you sit down, say, sitting down now. When you pick up your phone, say, checking my messages. Why does this work? Because when you describe physical actions in the exact moment they happen, your brain starts focusing on the action instead of the grammar. You don't have time to think about past, present, or future tenses. You are just linking the action directly to the sound. Mini challenge. Now I have a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, don't say, I'm studying English. Instead, say, I'm living in English for 10 minutes every day. Can you accept that challenge? I believe you can, because 10 minutes is possible, and small daily actions become big results. Repeat after me. Let's finish our practice together. Repeat after me. I don't need perfect grammar to communicate. Again, I don't need perfect grammar to communicate. Excellent. Now, every day I speak a little better. One more time. Every day I speak a little better. Beautiful. Keep these 2 sentences with you. They will remind you that progress is stronger than perfection. Before we finish, let me tell you one last story. A learner once believed he would never speak English confidently. Every conversation made him nervous. Every mistake felt huge. So he stayed quiet. Then, one day, he made one small decision, not to study longer, but to practice every single day, just a few minutes. He listened while getting ready. He repeated short phrases. He talked to himself during simple daily tasks. He recorded his voice once a day. At first, nothing seemed different. After 1 week, speaking felt a little easier. After 1 month, he stopped translating every sentence. After a few months, people noticed something. He wasn't speaking perfect English. He was speaking natural English. And that's what real communication is all about. The biggest change wasn't his grammar. The biggest change was his confidence. Because confidence doesn't appear first. Practice comes first. Confidence follows. Today, we discovered a powerful truth. Grammar is important, but grammar should support your speaking. It should never stop your speaking. Let's quickly remember today's 5 practices. First, fill your day with real English situations. Second, steal ready-made chunks instead of matching rules. Third, use the "don't correct yourself" rule to keep your fluency alive. Fourth, choose simple words instead of freezing over big vocabulary. And finally, link English directly to your physical actions throughout the day. Small practice every day. That's how fluency grows. Not overnight, but step by step. My friend, if today your English feels slow, don't lose hope. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once felt nervous. The difference wasn't talent. The difference was consistency. So don't wait until you know every grammar rule. Don't wait until every sentence feels perfect. Start speaking today. Start with one sentence, then another. One day, you'll suddenly notice something amazing. You're speaking without thinking about grammar, and you'll smile because you'll remember this episode. If you enjoyed learning with me today, thank you for spending your time with Learn English Unleashed. Keep practicing. Keep believing in yourself. And remember, speak to share your message, not to impress people with perfect grammar. Take care, my friend. Keep smiling. Until then, keep speaking, keep smiling, and keep unleashing your English.